If you have not heard about glutathione, then you are living under a rock. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mindful Mondays with me, Jen, and this is Jenny's Self-Care Lab. Okay, so we are talking today glutathione. So I will be honest, I have used this product in skin masks before and I love it. Like every time I use glutathione anything, my skin be popping after that. Okay, like it is just like glistening. Okay, I have also had a glutathione drip, IV drip, at one of those like IV bars and stuff like that, where like you go and it's like there's a nurse and she administers a drip for you. And like at the time, I think it's the same place where people would go for like if you're fatigued, or like I know a lot of the finance guys like typically get drips for like vitamin B because they're just like, I'm tired, but I need to keep pushing, for to acquire that bag. So a few years back, I went to one of the IV bars in Douglasdale in South Africa. And I got myself a glutathione drip. Now, I will be honest, I did not see the difference from it. However, I will say at the time my skin was kind of like okay, like it wasn't terrible, but I would have expected to see a lot more from it. I will say if I have to compare both experiences, the IV drip versus the skincare has given me more results, better results than the IV drip. Now, this could be because I only did the IV drip once. It could be because I was also doing other IV drips on the day. I think I did glutathione and I did something else also maybe for energy because I was tired. This was when I was still back in corporate. And so I don't know, but we're diving deeper into glutathione today. And we're going to find out a little bit more about it because she seems to be the girl that she thinks she is. So much so that there are some doctors, some writers of the dermatological family that are saying, listen, this thing is not just good for healthy, glowing skin. It is also a powerful, powerful ingredient for our bodies altogether. And so we're going to understand why is this the case? What are the benefits? What kind of products could we find glutathione in it in? And basically, what else should we know about it before we go and play with this baby girl on the playground? Let's get into it. So let's get into some facts as always. Glutathione is made up of three amino acids. One, glutamine, two, glycine, and three, cysteine. I hope I'm saying cysteine right. It's spelled Cysteine, cysteine, cysteine. I'm going to call it cysteine. Just sounds right. These are the three, and basically these amino acids combine in the body in different patterns to make all of the proteins in our body. That's insane. Why do I not know about this? Okay, I also didn't study biology, of course, so maybe that's why I don't know about this. But apparently, that is how important glutathione is to our body. It's these three amino acids that combine to create all the proteins in our body, and these are very important proteins. Okay, so it is a very powerful antioxidant that is naturally produced in our body. So over and above what we're putting on our skin, what we're ingesting, and whatever else, this is in our bodies naturally, and it is a powerful, powerful antioxidant. Now, some of the benefits of glutathione, let's get into them. There's five. The one for detoxification, particularly in the liver. So while on the topic of detoxifying, especially the liver, is that the liver plays such a crucial role in having healthy skin because it's the body's primary detoxification organ. So if the liver is overwhelmed or not functioning properly, it can impact skin health, leading to issues like acne, dullness, eczema, and hyperpigmentation. Now, detoxifying or getting rid of toxins in the liver, basically the liver breaks down these toxins, hormones, medications, and waste products from the blood. And when the liver is overwhelmed or sluggish, these toxins may accumulate in the body and can manifest in a number of issues. The liver also helps metabolize and break down excess hormones, especially estrogen, which is the beauty hormone. And the imbalances in estrogen and other hormones can cause hormonal acne or conditions like melasma, which a lot of women will typically have experiences with melasma during or after pregnancy when your hormones, of course, are like at their peak. And then lipid metabolism, the liver helps metabolize fats and produces bile, which breaks down dietary fats. Now, poor fat metabolism can lead to clogged pores and oily skin. So there's a number of reasons why your liver is such an important organ. And if you want to catch, we actually have 2 episodes that you can catch. So one is on the acne mapping, which we've done a video on. And one of the things that it shows is where on your face, if you've got breakouts, it tells you that something is up with your liver. And then secondly, you can also catch our video on estrogen, just to better understand estrogen as a hormone in the female system. Now, this is actually an interesting piece because there's some diets and juicing, I guess, as we call it, where it talks about, and I remember this from like a while back because I used to be that girl who'd be like, I'm juicing this week, I'm on a diet this week, because especially if I had a wedding to go to, please, okay, I will lose that last 2 kilograms that's holding me back from fitting into my outfit. And I remember being on some juice cleanses or just general diets that included a cleanse where part of it was like it's going to detox your liver. Now, something very interesting that I think recently heard or read somewhere was that like we actually shouldn't be overdoing it with stuff like that because our liver actually naturally detoxes itself. Now, that is not the topic for today. I don't want to jump into that because that would require some more research on my end. However, I will say that perhaps this is part of the natural process of the body where glutathione helps with detoxifying the liver. Okay, the second benefit is that it neutralizes free radicals and prevents oxidative stress. Now, free radicals are unstable molecules that have unpaired electrons, and basically these to become stable, they have to steal electrons from other molecules, which basically causes damage. Now, sources, like where do these free radicals come from? UV radiation, so too much sun exposure can generate free radicals and damage the skin cells. Pollution, which is where environments become such an important thing for our skin as well, and that may differ depending on where you are. Smoking is loaded with, or cigarette smoke rather, is loaded with free radicals. Stress and poor diet, these can increase free radical production in the body, and internal processes, so normal metabolic processes also generate free radicals. Now, why are free radicals bad for the skin? So free radicals can cause oxidative stress, which basically damages your cell membrane, proteins, DNA, and collagen fibers. Now, if you don't want to be prematurely aging, this is important because when there's an excess of free radicals in the body and this causes oxidative stress, it results in premature aging because of the breakdown of collagen and elastin, which then leads to sagging skin and fine lines and wrinkles. It can also cause hyperpigmentation, which increases melanin production in the body and dark spots and uneven skin tone. It can also lead to acne and inflammation due to the damaged skin cells that then cause inflammatory responses within the body. And remember that we've spoken previously about like when your skin is breaking out, there's usually a reason for it, right? So we obviously focus so much more like as individuals on how do I fix it? How do I fix it? How do I fix it? But sometimes it's actually important to ask, why is this here? Is it here because of bacteria? Is it here because my body's trying to tell me that something is wrong internally with one of my organs? Is it trying to tell me that I'm not eating right? Is it trying to tell me that my hormones are fluctuating? Like, what is it actually communicating to me? And inflammation is one of the body's ways of quickly going, uh-oh, like sounding the bells and saying something is going on. And so acne and inflammation is one of the things that can result from that. Loss of radiance, your skin can become dull and tired looking, and we do not need that, honey. Okay, we're not going to need that. And this is usually if you've got cellular damage that has accumulated over time. You can have a compromised barrier function, which I will do a separate video on because barrier function is so, so important to the health of our skin. And it's something that I think a lot of the Western skincare particularly doesn't focus so much on, at least not in my experience as much as the Korean skincare has. There's so much emphasis on barrier function and barrier protection and barrier repair and barrier nurturing. Just Okay, barrier everything in Korean skincare, and we absolutely love that. And there's a good reason why. And there's actually a link between barrier function or caring for it and nurturing it in the right way, particularly for those of us who are melanated. Who have melanated skin. Okay, so this is good for this because when your lipids are damaged, this weakens the skin barrier and this leads to dehydration and sensitivity. And then, of course, long-term oxidative stress can also lead to the risk of skin cancer and chronic skin conditions. Now, how does I guess like something like glutathione help to neutralize these free radicals that we keep mentioning? So the antioxidants are molecules that can donate electrons to free radicals without becoming unstable themselves. So instead of those electrons stealing or those molecules stealing from elsewhere, then you can actually have the antioxidants kind of share what they have with the others without themselves becoming unstable themselves. And this stabilizes the free radical and stops the chain reaction of cellular damage, right? Because as mentioned previously in the beginning, when these unstable molecules that are caused from free radicals, when they are unstable and steal basically from the other molecules in the body, it leads to cell damage, skin cell damage. And so we don't want that. And so by using or having glutathione and a number of other ingredients in the body, both that can be topical as well as taken through food. These really do help with ensuring the body's health and the skin's health, most importantly, particularly in this case. Okay, so just some interesting things. So something that you can incorporate in your skincare routine in the mornings, if you are like, listen, I'm gonna make sure my antioxidants are popping, okay? They're just ready, they're on one. You can use vitamin C, which is quite a popular ingredient and very easy to find in serums and stuff like that. That does help with antioxidants, and it also has a number of other benefits. And then, of course, make sure that you're applying a broad spectrum sunscreen to protect from UV-induced free radicals and, of course, the damages of UV rays. And then, of course, in your night routine, you can include like a niacinamide, a retinol, a glutathione. You can incorporate even like green tea serums that help boost the antioxidant defense. And this will help reduce the oxidative stress as well, which is so important. So I think if you're a retinol user or a niacinamide user, you're pretty comfortable and you're pretty covered. In terms of food, if you are like, listen, this seems important and I want to make sure that I'm also in my diet, including or considering antioxidants for skin health, you want to make sure you get your blueberries, your strawberries. These are rich in flavonoids and vitamin C. You want to maybe include some dark chocolate. Okay, some leafy greens, some nuts and seeds, green tea. These are all pretty good in your diet. Okay, so those were two: detoxification and neutralizing free radicals to prevent oxidative stress. Now, the third benefit of glutathione is that it does boost our immune system. Again, back to this point about boosting the immune system, because it seems, as I've said previously, doctors and other persons of the dermatological field and even just the medical field in general have noted glutathione to not just be powerful for the skin, but powerful for the body overall. And what I have since learned is that it does have a supporting mechanism to our cells that ultimately supports our overall well-being by boosting our immune system and our overall wellness. 4 is obviously the one that everybody's interested about when it comes to skincare, is skin brightening and skin lightening. Now, I don't think this is whitening, because I think there are products that are like whitening products, or whitening ingredients, but this is more like brightening and lightening, i.e. dealing with pigmentation, dark spots, and just really just dealing with dull skin and bringing it alive. Think of it as like a light bulb, right? Walking into a dark room and you're like, doops, and the light bulb comes on. That's glutathione, right? And it basically does this by inhibiting melanin production, which I'll get into a little bit further just now. But last but not least, it also helps with anti-aging and to maintain that youthful glow, of course, because of what we've just mentioned as well, from the oxidative stress and the antioxidants and the free radicals. Anti-aging is a big part of what glutathione is preventing. or at least dealing with. Okay, let's get into it. So in skincare, it is used to brighten and reduce pigmentation. That's what it's most popular for. I guess if you look at all the things that I've mentioned in terms of benefits, you're like, yeah, oxidative, whatever. Like, you're like, we hear you on the detox and tontoni, but what is it really doing? Okay, like what is the thing that we're like really wanting to hear? And the most popular one is that it does help with pigmentation and dark spots and just evening out your skin tone. Number one is it inhibits something called tyrosinase, which I hope I'm pronouncing that right, tyrosinase, but it's an enzyme that's involved in melanin production. So it inhibits this particular enzyme. And then it prevents free radical damage, which can lead to dark spots and dullness. And then it also converts dark pigment to light pigment. So there's two types of pigmentation or pigments. And basically, most people have the darker pigment that are melanated individuals or melanated skin individuals. And then there's other individuals that have more of this kind of like lighter pigment. And this lighter pigment can also be found in, say, Caucasians. And so there are two types of melanin. There is the dark pigment, and then there's the light pigment. So the dark pigment being eumelanin, and then the light pigment being melanin or for melanin. I think it's more like melanin. And basically the dark pigment is how like you get this like brownish blackish color versus like the lighter pigment, which is kind of like your red to yellowish color. So the lighter pigment is typically found in people of lighter skin tones, i.e. European descent, Caucasian, whereas the darker pigment is found in Africans, people of African descent, people of Asian descent. And, like I said in a previous video, actually, where we look at race, ethnicity, and ancestry as it relates to skincare, you can check that out as well. We talk about all the different groups and kind of like the differences in the skin there. So ultimately, what this is doing, glutathione, is it helps to convert this darker pigment to lighter pigment over time, of course, and it obviously just gives you that evened out skin tone that you're looking for. Glutathione you can find in creams, you can find in serums. I guess serums is probably like the most popular. And then, of course, you can find in face masks. I am a huge fan of face masks just because there's so many other ingredients that I'm already using for pigmentation and that kind of stuff. So I am a real fan of just like a good face mask, which I absolutely love. We've got a couple on the store. We've got the Som by Me Yuja Niacin face mask, which is a brightening face mask that has glutathione in it as well. We've got the APLB glutathione and niacinamide face mask, which is really good. You can also find it in the serum equivalent of that. And then there is a Cosrx 2% alpha arbutin discoloration care serum, which we don't have on the store, but it was one that came up in my research as a really good one as well. And then, of course, like I said, there is IV therapy for glutathione, and there is also supplements for this. However, both of the supplements or the oral supplements and the IV therapy, there is a little bit of controversy around them because they do have certain symptoms or can have certain side effects that are gastrointestinal related or kidney related, which I'm not going to dive into in this video, but just so you guys know that there is a little bit of controversy around these. As I was going through the research, I found a number of papers where there was kind of like already from the introduction of each paper, it was kind of like, listen, there's some controversy around here, but here's what we found. And so I'm not going to delve into those today just because I believe where there's very, very clearly not consensus or not even a little bit of directional consensus, that, we're just kind of gonna wait a little bit until people have some consensus. Last but not least, topical forms of glutathione in the form of creams, serums, and that kind of stuff, face masks, are considered safer options. It's always important to note that if you have super, super sensitive skin, you want to make sure that you're testing something out first before you try it on your skin. Because just like with any ingredient, if you've got super sensitive skin, you are more likely to experience some sort of mild irritation if you've got super sensitive skin. But if you've used other items like 10% niacinamide or like TXA and retinols and stuff like that, then it probably won't be an issue. But of course, always testing is the right way to go. And like I said, a face mask is a nice, cheap, easy way to test out a particular ingredient and see if you like it, or a particular product or brand before you purchase a serum, for example. So I hope that that was helpful. Glutathione seems to be a girl on a mission, and we love it for her, and we love it for us, and we love it for our skin. And in fact, you know what? We love it for our whole bodies, because clearly the girl is far more important than we give her credit for. So I hope that was helpful. I will see you guys on the next episode of Mindful Mondays, and I'll see you tomorrow on Transformation Tuesdays. Have a fabulous day further.